Hey everyone, Reaper here again with another video. It's time for another comic book haul. Comic book haul number 61. It's my 11th year being on YouTube, all that fun stuff. So, first off, before we start getting to the books, I wanted to thank all of you for watching my videos, commenting. It's leaving some really interesting comments, constructive and thought-provoking, when it comes to some of the issues that I've been discussing every week. So thank you for tuning in and thank you for leaving those comments. So now with this particular video, we're just going to get back to just showing off some books, some of my most recent purchases over the last few months, all right? So I've been really working on, at least trying to work on my comic book want list for 2025, and I think I've been doing pretty well with a few surprises here and there. So this comic book haul should be no exception to that. So let's get started, all right? This, I have them set up in, all the different ages. There's a little bit of something for everybody in this video when it comes to Silver Age, Golden Age. Hell, I even have a little bit of modern stuff, a modern book in this video, which is what we're going to start out with first. So this I have to send back to CGC. I have to send to CGC. I didn't have it graded or anything like that. I purchased it for a pretty, good price. I got it really cheap. But it has to be put into a better case, all right? So here we have Walking Dead number 19, the first appearance of Michonne. I upgraded to a nice 9.6. Like I said, it's like a second generation CGC slab. I need to get it into a different one because it's not just because it's a second generation slab. I have a few of those. It's it's got scratches and scruffs on it. I might as well send it out and get it in a nice new shiny plastic slab. Yeah, on that book, I originally purchased that many years ago, back in, I think it was in 2014. I first picked up Walking Dead number 19. I bought a 9.0. And I sold it a couple years later, and then a couple years after that, I got a raw copy, and then I sold that, and now I have this nice new 9.6 copy. Yeah, I still collect Walking Dead. I hope to get numbers 1, 2, and 3 sometime soon. Not super soon, but sometime soon. All right, now the next book isn't, we're starting with some Golden Age books. Yeah, that's it for the modern stuff I have. I don't really collect too many modern stuff aside from Walking Dead and books like that. But the next one, we go into the Golden Age pre-code horror. Now this one right here is a brand new entry into my collection. It's not an upgrade or anything like that. It's the first time coming into my collection, and it's low grade, which I typically don't get super low grade. But this one, I bought it because I thought the price was right, and I just don't see the book. Eventually it's going to be upgraded when I find the right copy, but I just never seem to find the right copy. So I figured, what the heck. Here we have Mystic number 30. This is a CBCS 2.0. Despite the fact that it's a low grade, very low grade, it presents very well. Very nice. I mean, yeah, you can see it's got a piece out in the top, and the back is fine, but there's nothing else. It's detached, I think, at the bottom staple, all that sort of stuff. So it's got issues. It's a 2.0, but still pretty well presenting. All right, now this one right here I picked up. I thought this was really good. I got 2 more from the Golden Age, and then we're going to get into Silver Age superhero stuff, which I think is what a lot of people really like when it comes to seeing new books. But this one right here, it's one of my oldest books in the collection. I have only a couple books from the 1940s in my collection. Nothing from the 30s. But I do have only a few books from the 1940s. And this is one of them, which is pretty cool. And it's an Alex Schomburg cover. I don't have any Schomburg covers. And I'm not a Schomburg collector or an enthusiast or anything like that. But it's nice to have something from him in my collection. Here we have Mystery Comics number 4. Kind of a controversial cover with the KKK on it. I thought that this was a pretty cool cover with Wonder Man over here knocking out the Klan. So I thought that this was a really nice looking cover. And a decent grade, 4.0. So pretty cool. The last Golden Age book is something that I've wanted for a long time, but I just never got around to getting it. Now, excuse me, I'm just going to move something here because I want to show you where my interest in this book originally came from. So forgive me if I'm taking a little too much of your time without getting to the actual book. Let me see if I get to the page. But anyway, while I'm doing that, a lot of us that got into comic books in the 90s, myself included in that, probably are familiar with Wizard magazine. Now I know out there, some of you, we could debate, where the hell did they get those prices in their price guide section? But for me back then, that's how I judged how much of a book was worth. Now, in the early days of Wizard magazine, they didn't have a comprehensive price guide. They didn't have the Golden Age books. But then after a few years, well, more than a few years, they started adding Golden Age books in there where you could see their values, first appearances, and all that sort of stuff. I know Wizard was very popular for a lot of people. But, like I said, I think that, some of their prices, people wondered where their pricing was coming from. But anyway, Wizard would put out every now and then these little special editions. Now, the one that I have right here, and this is not what I just bought. I've had this since 1993 or 4, whenever it came out. Here we have Wizard's 100 Most Collectible Comics. Now, this list is, I think, on target for a lot of books. Some of them, I don't know so much. But anyway, the book that I just purchased, I first saw back in the day when I first picked this up, and I saw it here. And ever since I saw it, I was like, wow, that's a pretty cool cover. That's a pretty cool looking comic. Now, I don't know if back then I ever said to myself, oh, one day I'll own that. It's just one of those things I filed away. But here we have, let me first show you the book I got, and then I'll show you the ad for it. Eerie #1, Joe Kubert cover. Really, really cool. I've been told recently, anytime you have a female in a glass tube or people in glass tubes, it's controversial. I didn't even notice that, honestly. What strikes me the most is this ghoul on the cover. And, I read it, I enjoyed it, and this is going to go to CGC. I think it's a 5.0, but it's really cool book. Outside of my normal EC Atlas pre-code horror book collecting. So I first saw this book, just to put the little cherry on top of everything, right here, when they were going over all the 100 most collectible books. And back then, Wizard Magazine, or the people that were working at Wizard Magazine, felt that Eerie #1 was one of those books, along with the first appearance of Uncle Scrooge over there. And I don't even know what that one is. Adventure Comics 103. Yeah, whatever, I don't know. But a lot of us, I think, the point is, as I close with the Golden Age and we get into the Silver Age, a lot of us were influenced by Wizard Magazine that started collecting in 1990, in the 1990s, early 90s. There was also Hero Magazine, Hero Illustrated, I think it was. I didn't like them that much. All right, Silver Age, superhero, Marvel books. All right, what did I get? Well, they're all upgrades. Okay, it's not like Eerie and Mystery Tales where they're like, or Mystic 30 where they're like the new kids on the block. These have copies of these have been in my collection for many years, and now I just upgraded them. So we're going to start with this one right here, The Amazing Spider-Man #6. I had a 4.5 copy for several years. I had it graded, sold it, and then I used the funds with a little bit extra to pay for this nice 6.0 copy. This is going to go to CGC along with the Eerie and a few others from this video and a few others that are not in this video. But this is going to be one of them that goes. I predict it's going to be a 6.0. That's what it was sold to me as, and that's what I think it's going to be. The next one is an upgrade. I've had 3 copies of this book over the years. Here we have an Amazing Spider-Man #16, the first Daredevil Spider-Man crossover. This, I believe, is a nice 7.5, a very nice looking book. My first copy was maybe a 2.5 many years ago, and then I upgraded to a CGC 4.0, and now I have a 7.5. And here's the last of the Raw books in my collection, and another one that's going to be going to CGC along with that amazing 16. I've only had one other copy of this over the years, which I bought back in 1996. I believe it was a 5.0, maybe a 5.5. Well, this copy here, I believe, is a 7.0. Here we have Amazing Spider-Man number 20, the first appearance of Matt Gargan as the Scorpion. So pretty cool, huh? Yeah, as you could tell, I've been really going crazy with Amazing Spider-Mans, and it doesn't end there. Here's another upgrade. It's a nicer book, not as high as the others, but still pretty cool. The Amazing Spider-Man number 5, 5.0. I had a 2.5, maybe on a good day, a 3.0 raw copy of this for several years, and I finally got rid of it. Yeah, that's a pricey book. I mean, it's an early single-digit Spider-Man, so any early single-digit Spider-Mans are going to cost some money, but it was nice to finally get a decent upgrade for that book. Now, we're going to take a step back from Spider-Man for a moment, and then we're going to jump back into it with the last book. So we have 2 more books here. Now, these are 2 nice upgrades for me that were on previous year's want list. So what I mean by that is both of these were on the 2024 want list, never got to them, and then they were placed again. I think they might have even been on the 2023 want list. And then, of course, they were put on the 2025 want list. So they've been on several want lists, quite neglected over the last few years, okay? That I wanted to upgrade. Now, for this book right here, this is my second copy of it. I originally had a 3.0, which I showed off back in 2017. I got it raw. I told the story on how I got it and all that sort of stuff. You can go check out previous videos to see that story. But I was finally able to upgrade it to a 5.0, which is what I wanted to do. Here we have Strange Tales 110. Very, very nice looking 5.0 of the first appearance of Doctor Strange, Wong, the Ancient One, Nightmare. I had the privilege of having this raw for a period of time, so I read it, and of course I liked the Doctor Strange story. I thought it had a very creepy vibe to it. You know, a guy having nightmares, trying to figure out what's going on, seeks out Doctor Strange, and it's a stormy, rainy night. It's right up my alley with a lot of the things that I like in writing and in movies. Dark, claustrophobic, rainy, moody, atmospheric type stories. So that was really good. So it was nice to finally get an upgrade on that. So very, very nice 5.0. And the last book, we go back to Amazing Spider-Man. This has been on my want list for, like I said, a few years now. This is my 3rd copy of this book. Originally, I bought a copy of this, an incomplete copy, I might add, back in January 1996 for $50. Obviously, a few years ago, rather, I sold it. I didn't sell it for $50, but I sold it and used those profits to get a 3.0 copy, and which I had graded by CGC, came back at 3.0. That video, I think, is still on my channel when I open it. I've had that for several years until I finally did a little bit of a trade and trade cash for this nice 4.5 copy of The Amazing Spider-Man number 3, the first appearance of Dr. Octopus. It's a pricey book, and it's, you know, it's not rare, you know, but it's trying to find them in 4.5s, 5.0s, and of course higher, you know, it becomes challenging because it's Dr. Octopus. You know, there's discussion on buying supervillains in comic books. They never hold their value, but the Spider-Man villains do. One in particular is Dr. Octopus. He's a character that everyone who's a Spider-Man fan usually likes, and that book is chased by comic book collectors, especially when you're getting above 4.0. Fans want a nicer looking copy of that book. It's Dr. Octopus is important. People like to collect Dr. Doom, of course, but Dr. Octopus I'd put in that category of one of those villain characters that can withstand no longer being in a movie or being killed off in a movie. And all that. It withstood the test of time. So that's my comic book haul, everybody. My little anniversary haul, short little haul. Doesn't have like 50 books in it. I'm not quite sure when there'll be another comic book haul. Maybe sometime this year. I'm thinking maybe in the fall or whatever. I don't really see another one coming anytime soon. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and leave in comments. What books are you looking for? What books have you recently added to your collection? Anything about it. In any event, thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.